All right, guys. Thank you all for joining me today. If we can actually get the stream on the road now, so let me go ahead and transition our window. So I don't know if you guys can hear. One of the reasons that I really wanted to stream tonight is because I got a new microphone. If you guys can tell the difference of this new microphone, please let me know. I want to know how it sounds to you guys, and I'm gonna be messing with it pretty I wouldn't say frequently over this stream. But yeah, it is a brand new microphone. I just wanted to test it out, see how it sounded to you guys, and then we can get the show on the road. So let's go ahead and transition. And here we are. All right, so we are playing again as Josh Hodges. He's Governor Hodges now. He is Mr. Hodges from the Hillsborough County of New Hampshire. He is 47 years old. He's from the 50th State House District, the 9th State Senate District, and the 2nd Congressional District. Let's go ahead and look at his history real quick. So he worked for a computer business from the year 2000 to 2006, and then he lost his job during the financial crisis of 2008. And then but about 2 years before that, he became the chair of his local precinct. He had the chair of his local precinct from 2006 to 2012. And then in 2009, after losing his job as he was the chair of the local precinct, he actually became the governor, an advisor to the governor of New Hampshire. And as being the advisor to the governor of New Hampshire, this started his political career, and we ran him in a three times successfully from the year 2021 to 2027. He served 3 terms in the United States House of Representatives. This gave him the leeway and experience in order to win his race for governor. So let's actually look at his elections real quick. We can see that he did retire the House in 2024, and then he ran for the Republican primary. He won by a slimmer margin than would be comfortable in any other scenario. But he won by about 44,000 votes, and then we were absolutely. I mean, look at all these votes on the Democratic side. I mean, this is a Democratic state that we're talking about. And then so he ran in the general election, and he won. He won the general election by more than 50,000 votes, or about just less than about 100 votes short of 50,000. He won 54% of the vote against 45.6%. The character's forehead is apparently so massive you could land a airplane on it. But yeah, all right, let's go ahead and get this done. We're in year 2028. We're gonna be playing for a little bit, and we're gonna try to maybe we can get to the next election. We're gonna be streaming for about an hour tonight. So I wanted to this was more of like a test for my new microphone. It's a Blue Yeti X. It's a very nice microphone. It actually gives me audio ratings on the side where the volume bar is, and I can actually adjust the gain to the microphone. So it's actually really cool. Hopefully, the microphone isn't sensitive or you can hear me drinking. I like it better when you stream at night because I sleep in a lot. Yeah, so do I. That's why I usually shoot for afternoon live streams. I mean, if you're sleeping until like 2 o'clock, I mean, geez, I mean, I hate doing that. All right, let's go over to create legislation metrics. We do have a positive balance in our surplus. We do actually have a $1.1 billion surplus that we are working with the state. Do we have what is our legislature looking like? So the Senate is Democratic, but the House is Republican, 109 seats in the House of Representatives for New Hampshire. So the state does have Medicaid expansion existing. So we don't have to worry about that, at least yet, unless the Republicans come in and say, hey, let's get rid of Medicaid expansion. But that's not something that I'm going to be looking forward to. But we are in a midterm year now. All right, so we are going to be going to all these rallies and fundraisers, and we are going to try to get our we're going to try to get our expand our mandate in the House of Representatives and the Senate. We do have a Republican running in the Senate election. It's Chase Roy that is running. Let's go ahead and attend. So we're just going to be attending all of these to ensure that we can. We're going to attend a couple of fundraisers. Yeah, we're not getting that much money off of these fundraisers. 3 rallies. Yeah, we're just going to be doing rallies, just trying to get the turnout to go up. What the hell is a bed? Yeah, I get that. I get that. Thank you. Just for those joining right now, if you are new to this channel, leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. We got about 20 people watching this live stream. Let's go ahead and get 20 likes. I want to get as many likes as possible as the numbers begin to go up. So let's go ahead, and again, we got 22 people watching this now. Representative, look at this. Grover Nixon won his representative seat. That is interesting. Let's do a fundraiser with him. We do not have enough. We do not have enough. So do we have the opportunity? What about Chase Roy? How much are we going to get? $838. That's just minimal. Sweet Tooth 124, welcome to the live stream. I appreciate that you are here. It's my good friend Sweet Tooth. If you guys actually could go and subscribe to Sweet Tooth, I would that would be very greatly appreciated on my part. He's a good friend of mine. So again, let's go ahead and give our subscriptions over to Sweet Tooth 124 in the chat. Thank you again, Sweet Tooth, for joining in. He actually has a couple of videos that he does. He has a couple of, World of Tanks, what do you call it, live streams. And he also streamed Fallout New Vegas the other day, which is a very interesting stream. I watched it, and he does make some pretty good content. So again, let's go ahead and subscribe to Sweet Tooth 124. It's going to go ahead and shoot for about 50,000 turnout in this election. I'm not that interesting. Neither am I. I mean, look at what I'm doing right now, my guy. I mean, I am playing a game in which I am the imaginary governor of New Hampshire. So, I mean, do people find this interesting? Is this interesting, guys? I don't know. We got 25 people watching this. Let's go ahead and get the 20 likes, boys. You guys are not doing what I say. I want to get 20 likes. That's all I want. Let's do it. Congressional candidate. Here it is. Fundraiser with Grover Nixon. He's a representative now, and we get $1,000 off of that fundraiser. That's interesting. $56,000 turnout. $58,000 turnout. What else can we do? We do not have any more hours to fundraise with, so let's go ahead and go to the next day. We have a presidential election. Let's watch, see the results come in. North Carolina, where are you going? And it looks like we do have a Democratic victory on our hands. North Carolina, Florida, all turned blue. New Hampshire goes red. Did we just? Oh my God! Did we just? Did we just keep New Hampshire red? This is gonna be okay. Yeah, California threw her over the top, but we look at all of that blue and then just that tiny little bit of red in New Hampshire. We absolutely just did. We actually helped in the down ballot race. That is interesting that the governor of New Hampshire, myself, uh that's the first time I've ever seen that. We just influenced an entire state election. That is cool. We're gonna go over. Let's look at New Hampshire. Let's look at the results in New Hampshire. And the wow. Wow, that the Republican actually won by a considerable margin. I mean, this isn't even like 50 or this isn't even like by a few hundred votes. I mean what are we looking at right here? 400, that's like 20,000 votes we're talking about here. 22,000, nearly 22,000 votes that the Republican candidate won by. And the Republicans still lost the federal election itself, but that is really cool. But we need to look what happened to the House of Representatives. Did District 25, where is District 25 in Texas? That is okay, so that's the large district that goes from South Fort Worth to Austin. Texas 21 is south of Austin, north of San Antonio. Very interesting. All right, Sweet Tooth, thank you so much for joining in on this stream. Thank you again and again for those watching right now. Let's go ahead and give our subscriptions to Mr. Sweet Tooth. He makes some pretty good content. I recommend you guys go watch him and support him. But someone did have the right idea in chat. Did Mr. Nixon win his election? Let's go ahead and look, view all elections. And New Hampshire, New Jersey, North Carolina, New Hampshire. Rudolph Jordan, and it looks like that the incumbent Democrat in District 2, from where we are, did win his election by about a very slim margin. Mr. Nixon does win. Let's look. Go to profile. He's a one-term representative, and it looks like that he just won a second term. Add to favorites. I will step away for 1 second. Let me step away. I can hear something. I'll be right back. Okay, I accidentally hit the wrong button on my microphone. Okay, now it's better. If the microphone messes up at any point, you guys make sure to let me know. Still kind of trying to tweak how this microphone is. Very slim majority right now in the House of Representatives, very similar to what it looks like today. Very similar because The Democrats basically right now they actually have 218 seats in the House of Representatives. That is the slimmest margin in literally modern history. I think it's even closer than the majority that the Democrats had back in the Republicans had back in the 2000 election. So let's look at the 2000 election. The 2000 elections, actually, in the House of Representatives, allowed the Republicans to operate with the 221 majority, and the Democrats only gained 2 seats, 1 seat in the House. The Independents actually gained 1 seat, and that was in Virginia. The Independents at that time actually had 2 seats. One of them was in Vermont at large, and the other was actually in Virginia. Not familiar with what district that was. All right, let's go to the year 2029. All right, so let's meet with our director of education. Graduation rate increased by 0.1%. I think we're going to try to increase funding to education in this next budget cycle. 91% of state residents have access to health care. Medicaid provides the coverage to 117,000 state residents, or 8% of the population, at a cost of nearly $500 million. The use of Medicaid has increased by 7,778 individuals, or 0.6% of the population. Director of Transportation, 39% is congestion, 84% are in good condition. That's actually really good. Speaking of, let's go over here. Let's go to crime and let's go to drug crimes. Our shot is that we are going to eliminate drug crimes entirely. It has been submitted to the House of Representatives for consideration. Universal preschool eliminated at the city level. Huh. And then at the state level, the tobacco tax takes effect, and then Medicaid increased eligibility rate from 133% to 147% of the poverty level takes effect at the federal level. All right, so let's go to the next week. It passes the House 33-0. What is their stance right now? Looks like 62% approval rating among the conservative committee, 76 among the moderates, and then and 69 among the libertarians. We have a lot of political points right now. Let's go ahead and create the state budget. Okay, I'm gonna say this like I tried to say it in chat. I hate to have to intervene like this. Can we like keep chat civil? I know you guys are having a little bit of a discussion about certain certain ideologies, but just like let's keep that to different kinds of streams. I mean, if we're gonna have a discussion about it, plus, I mean, there is a Discord server where you guys can have these discussions. Um, so let's keep chat, relevant to what's going on. Yeah, I absolutely want to encourage a discussion whenever it is able, but if chat's basically, I'm literally having all of this. Usually chat doesn't do this, but I need to hire more mods, honestly. But at least just let's keep it relevant, keep it civil, and if you guys are gonna have a different discussion, keep it civil. Usually I don't like to intervene like this, but Anyway, let's go ahead and create the state budget. I'm not blaming any which person. I'm not looking at anyone, you know, saying like you're doing it or you're doing it, like blah 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 blah. I just see you guys are having a conversation, and things are getting a little hectic, so I just want to make sure you guys are having a civil discussion, because again, I absolutely, I mean, this is a political channel. I mean, you guys are allowed to have these conversations, but as long as it is civil, as long as it is civil, I like to have conversations no matter what it is about. But especially, you know, if we're playing the political process, you guys like to see this. But anyway, for those watching right now, you know, I'm gonna shut up. Flat tax. We have a 3.75% flat tax when we have $500 million that we can mess with. We have 1.5% property tax. Yeah, we actually, civil is a strong word. Indeed, it is. Indeed, it is. Wow, we have a very high corporate. We have a lot very high taxes right now. I need to check my my tax approval metric. Damn, their forehead's bigger than KSI's. That was good. Let's increase the renewable energy tax credit. Let's go to health and human services, child services, mental health services. I think we're going to max out mental health, max out addiction. We're going to increase immunization, increase maternal, increase community, max out local, max out tobacco use and cessation, increase other. I just reached 50 subs. Yeah, hell yeah, man. Everyone, let's go ahead and help Mr. American Predictions get up to 100. Politics Gaming, what do you think about the legalization of drugs? I think that hard drugs are I think that hard drugs should be banned. I absolutely cannot understand why people do hard drugs. I think the only drug that I necessarily think is an okay thing to be allowed is marijuana. Marijuana, I mean, you know, there's really nothing wrong with marijuana. At least in my opinion. I'm not saying there's not any bad things that are associated with it. Marijuana, you know, has its own issues. It's not studied enough. But then at the same time, you know, it's basically a cigarette. It's no worse than a cigarette. It just has different kinds of effects that it has on you. So but I absolutely do not think that people should be thrown in jail, you know, for having a joint in the car, or, you know, a little bit of weed. You know, if they're not carrying like, you know, a ton of it, or, you know, a couple of pounds or something like that, like I think it should be allowed. Funding for social services, let's increase that to $30 million. Actually, let's do $50 million of social services. Do you think LSD should be legalized? Again, the harder drugs, it's kind of like a slippery slope, and I know, and marijuana is kind of a slippery slope in of itself. Um, but at the same time, you know, I mean, LSD kind of also doesn't have that many bad effects, so maybe, you know, mushrooms, marijuana, LSD. You know, if you're doing it within the confines of your own home, you're not doing it in public, you're not doing it to the point where other people are being disturbed by it, then I think that's okay. But things like crack, cocaine, heroin, those types of drugs. I think those have some of the illest side effects, and that's, I mean, not even uh, uh close to even describing how bad those drugs can be. Anyway, let's go ahead. Education. Let's increase our commitment to education. Let's do school improvement grants. Give about $25 million of school improvement, and then increase. Let's do $7,000 per child. That's $1.2 billion for state funding of local education. This is, if this policy is true, the state will provide a set amount of funds to help educate each student in the state. On average, the state pays for about 45% of a student's primary education. State funding of primary education improves the quality of education in low income communities. And without state support, impoverished communities could not be able to afford quality education. Actually, let's go ahead and save the $25 million for school improvement grants, and then just give that money into the state funding of local education. And then I think we could actually decrease. Let's do $25 million to social services. We're going to continue mental health services. We're going to do $45 million. Addiction, we're going to max. Education, budget requests. Let's give them $450 million. All right, let's go ahead and submit this budget. We got three. Oh, apparently we only submitted one bill over to the legislature. Looks like we're starting to lose votes, actually. Wonder who voted against it. HR 1. So that's drug crimes. Who voted against it? No Republicans voted against it. We had 5 Democrats in the House that voted against it, but it got unanimous support in the Senate. All right. Yeah, let's go ahead and support the legislation. HR 2 was rejected in the state Senate by a vote of 8 to 16. And that was what? HR 2? That was our tax credit increase. So it passed the House 113 to 87, so it was actually pretty contested in the House. A lot of people. And it barely passed the committee, but it failed the Senate. That is, well, at least we don't have to give away the additional money. Kind of saves us a little bit of money. Erica always exists, though. The only. Oh, you guys are having a completely different conversation. Yo, Peachy, who is that? Liberals are everything, dude. Actually, I have no idea. No need to intervene, PG. Yeah, sure. I wasn't even there. I was reading chat, and for some reason, I read it out loud, and I was like, "Oh, that was a completely different discussion y'all were having." Approval rating's doing pretty good. Let's go ahead and just continue to go past these weeks. We're about to enter. Oh, I think we're up for election in 2030. When did we get elected? That was 2026. Yep, we are up for election. Week 2, no retirements. I will flood Texas with my blueness. Oh boy. Education, what do we do right here? 91%. We are now over 91%. This is 3.1% above the national average. That is great. That is great to see. I like to just basically throw money at education. 84. Inmates have gone down, so that's good. Director of Housing, homelessness has decreased by 1%. So let's create the state budget again. $611 million. Preschool programs, free community college. We're not even spending on anything. Let's just go over to state funding for education and then increase it to $7,000. What'd you think about the movie Joker? I thought it was amazing. That was when I saw that movie like twice in theaters. It was one of the. I loved it. I absolutely loved Joker. 450 for college. Summer school. Yeah, I want to give. Should I just cut funding to summer school? Is that allowable? Let's give it the minimal amount of money. Yeah, $7,000. Run summer school with $7,000, you bastards. Do school improvement grants. See, I was gonna do school improvement grants in the past year, but school improvement grants. So it provides grants to help schools that are producing below average results. Some school districts cannot generate enough funding to produce high quality schools. These grants help address the issue by providing additional funding. So they need $9 million. But then, if I go to state funding of a local education, state funding of primary education improves the quality of education in low income communities. Without state support, impoverished communities could not be able to afford quality education. PG Putin is here. Russian interference is here. Oh boy. Oh, who is this? Is that my boy Vladimir Putin? Is Vladimir Putin in the chat? Hell yeah. Let's go ahead and do the additional $9 million for school improvements. I guess that wouldn't hurt. We got $300 million that we could just throw around, so I think we should be able to get that passed. That has been submitted to the legislature. Let's go ahead and run for governor again. Say yes. Terrence Spear, you will help me on this campaign endeavor. So let's do education. Access to higher education, we could shoot to get that to 3%. We could just do that in the next budget. Reduce crime and global warming, economic. Maybe we can shoot for like higher minimum wage, possibly. Are we being primaried? We are not. We are fundraising every turn, so that is good. So I think we should be able to max out our staff. That won't hurt us in a financial sphere. Establishes the program. This is grants to improve low performing schools. So we're going to support that. Remember, PG losing is for losers. Yeah, I bet it is. Bet it is. Moderate Republicans actually supported that move. The Republican Conservative Committee absolutely hates me now. Look at that. But the moderates kind of do like me, and they actually have more of the they actually have more support in the chamber. 72%. Jesus Christ. Trump 2024, I still want to have that debate with you. You know, I know we said that we were going to have a debate many months ago, but I would love to have that discussion with you. Actually talk about interventionism versus no interventionism. Why interventionism? And I wouldn't even say interventionism because I'm not even an interventionist. I'm just saying that there are certain countries that we should actually defend whenever it comes to um, certain areas, I guess. It's a good victory. We need to make sure that we are on top of our game. General, do an economic ad. I think with that amount of Democratic support, we should be able to win. Maybe lose one or two counties, but I mean, look at that. We're getting 34% of the votes right now. 71% of Republicans. That's mainly because of the amount of support that we have somewhat lost because of how much of a moderate that we have been acting like. What countries do you think we should defend? I think that we should defend NATO in general. If you know, it's basically an attack on one is an attack on all. NATO would be one. The Baltic states would be another. Possibly Ukraine to an extent if the Russians basically start marching into Kiev. If they go anywhere past Crimea in eastern Ukraine, then that should be defended. Taiwan is a big one. I believe that Taiwan is a very sovereign state and that Taiwan should be left alone by the Chinese. And the Chinese are not going to do that. So the Chinese are going to be looking at Taiwan in the next couple of years. And they actually, I mean, we saw the other day that it was the largest military incursion into Taiwanese airspace in, in history. And the Chinese seem to, excuse me, the Chinese really want to do something against Taiwan, and they should be defended. Japan should be defended. South Korea should be defended. The Philippines, Vietnam, Indonesia, Australia, New Zealand. We have a lot of different allies out there. India should be defended. if the Chinese were to start marching into New Delhi. I mean, there's a lot of different uh countries that we should defend against certain belligerents. So there's a lot of different uh countries out there. And I'm not even an interventionist. Like I know the toll of war. I lost a family member in the war in Iraq. But um it's a very complicated situation. But if we're not going to defend our own allies, we have a near 70 year uh we have a near 70-year agreement with the Taiwanese that if they were to be attacked by the Chinese, then we would step in and defend them. It's called strategic ambiguity. Strategic ambiguity is basically the policy measure that many different presidents, ever since I believe Dwight Eisenhower, abided by whenever it came to Taiwan. Taiwan was basically saying we need defense, and at the time it was because we recognized Taiwan as the sole legitimate China. However, after the Nixon administration in 1972, 1973, changed that policy, we still gave them weapons. We still said that if China were to step in and say, you need to, China were to step in and start invading them, then we would have their back. And if we were to just say, okay, if we're going to do all of this, and this, and then whenever it comes to it, and then we don't do it, that is going to send a very bad message to every single one of our allies that if you are attacked by, Russia, by China, by anyone, I mean, we're not just talking about Russia and China, we're talking about anyone in general, especially our own allies, that if they are attacked by anyone, we will not step in to defend them. I just don't see the evidence that Russia is still the huge superpower they're made out to be. I mean, eh, they're not technically. See, the thing about China and Russia is that they're technically not really superpowers. They're not, I mean, to the point that we, as the United States, is as a superpower is basically someone that has influence. It's not about military might. If you're thinking of a superpower as a country that has the strongest military in the world, the United States will defeat and beat out any other country by military power just because of how technologically advanced that our military is. But that's not a superpower. A superpower is a country that has not only very strong military power, but very strong diplomatic power, very strong economic power. And if you want to talk about if you want to say like whether Russia or China is a superpower, I would say that China is a superpower because China has that diplomatic influence. They have extremely strong in diplomatic influence. And that diplomatic influence has been growing over the past couple of years. And it at least in the past 20 years, it has gone unchecked because uh we have not as a nation, and we have not, especially with our allies, we have not looked at China and said, you need to kind of stop, you need to slow down because you're starting to look a little worrying over there. But no one really wanted to do that because no one really expected it to happen. Let's go ahead and get some ads on the ground. We're going to take another poll, voter intention. They have a lot of influence over Europe. Yeah, if you're looking at China and you really don't see how much of an influence they have, they have a lot of influence over places like Europe, like Southeast Asia, like Asia in general. I mean, they have grasp over places that usually you probably wouldn't even expect. There's something called the Belt and Road Initiative. And honestly, I may need to make a video about this to explain my views about why I think China is such a big threat. Because a lot of people have probably seen, my comments on YouTube. I talk about it a lot, and it's just something that I think is important. And a lot of people really don't realize how much of a threat China really is. There's a video that I'm gonna suggest to you guys. I forgot. I think it's by a guy named Krauts, and it's called Trump's Biggest Failure. And I kind of have a couple of disagreements with the video, but basically, but I can kind of agree with it. It basically talks about the history of China, the rise of China, and the history of the Communist Party of China, and why China is becoming a larger threat. It kind of goes into detail about the treatment of Taiwan, the treatment of the Uyghurs, the treatment of a lot of different areas that have been related to China. And it's just there's just a lot that has been going on with China, and I'm gonna say that leaving the Trans-Pacific Partnership, leaving a couple of different organizations probably was not the best move in the Trump administration. I do like that he was basically saying, if you guys don't change your act, then we're not gonna sit here and give you money if you're not gonna go with. Yeah, I mean it's basically like the person who pays the bills, all of the bills, and then everyone else gets to dictate it, and then not the person that's paying the bills. So I would recommend go watch it. It's called Trump's Biggest Failure, and it's a really interesting piece about the history of China and why China has become a threat, and then how Trump kind of failed to stop it from happening. Do you think the communist Chinese government will fall into Taiwan government will take over the mainland again? That is a pipe's dream. If that's what's going to happen by the end of this, then I absolutely hope that that Taiwan, that democracy itself, comes to the doorsteps of China. That they're not hammered down uh, by dictatorship, by authoritarianism. So it's something that I think should happen in China. Necessarily, I don't. I mean, if Taiwan doesn't, because Taiwan doesn't even claim that China is theirs, like the mainland China. I don't think they do. I think they do. I may be wrong there. Um, so in some ways, I mean, if that's what the consensus would be, that by the end of it, then Taiwan would get the whole of China, not just Formosa. Then yeah, I mean, I think that should happen. But I wouldn't necessarily say that, like, Taiwan should like launch an invasion or something like that. Um, so it's I would say that's a pipe stream. We're set to win this election. We should win this election. We're going to do a general ad on the economy, $500,000 invested into that. We get 80% voter enthusiasm among Democrats. Let's do one more poll. We get 71% of Republicans There are about 35% of Democrats and 53% of independents. So let's do poverty. Let's do another 300,000, I guess. Let's go to the next day, see how this election turns out. And we win. We got 53.1% of the vote, 318,176 votes to 280,914 votes. We will compare that to our previous election, and we do win a second term as governor of New Hampshire. That is amazing to see that we can win twice in a row. We only won. We won every other county except what is this? What county is that? That is. Someone's going to say it for me. That is Grafton County. So we lost Grafton County in New Hampshire. So that is unfortunate. It is unfortunate that we do lose Grafton County. Screw him. Screw Grafton County. The last election, we did a completely red sweep. So we got 54% of the vote. We actually did better in terms of getting more votes. So more people turned out to vote for me. Mainly because of, it's been a couple of years. Population has increased. 280 votes. 257. So that's an additional about 22,000 votes that the Democrats made up, but it was not enough to overtake my lead. It's just that we do have, and we are possibly shifting New Hampshire red, so that is interesting. I'm not automating these freaking events. Why am I not fundraising? I need to fundraise. It should be an automatic thing. All right. So you do have city elections. I'm gonna go ahead and new term as governor. Graduation 91.2. So graduation is increasing steadily but surely. $122 million. Maybe we could cut that down to about $100 million. We're going to create the budget. $572 million. Education. We're going to do education. 7,000 per student. Health. Community. Local. Tobacco. Mental health. And addiction. Budget request 11. Let's do 15. Let's go ahead and submit that budget. Don't even have to say give any more tax increases, so we're not really hurting the little man. Let's go to metrics approval. Yeah. Look at that. Very low tax approval, so we need to work to start decreasing taxes. Luke Riley, welcome to the live stream. So you're playing as a Rockefeller Republican. We were playing as a Chris Sununu Republican. Playing as a more moderate, kind of like appeasing the Democrats, appeasing the moderate Republicans. We have like a 60% approval rating, so I mean we're not doing that bad. We've been able to win. I mean, look at that. We have 61% approval rating among moderate Democrats. And I mean, we have total influence over them. We have total influence over the moderate Republicans, over the libertarians. Let's go over to elections. Let's see what kind of mandate we're working with. We have a split Senate. And still pretty good mandate in the House of Representatives. I am here. Time to bust some trust. Hell yeah. Still think this microphone is really cool. I like how it, because one of the cool things about it is that I have like it shows me what my voice is doing, so I can actually kind of look at it, and if anything is too loud or too low, like it actually tells me. So it's a pretty good improvement among compared to the other microphone. But we've been streaming for an hour. I think I may call it quits here. When's the next Power and Revolution video? I'm gonna try to record it tonight, and then get it and then edit it. There's gonna be something that I'm gonna be doing in that episode, replicating what Biden is doing. It's gonna be the withdrawal from Afghanistan. So look forward to that. I will. But yeah, I think I'm gonna try to get it out. If I can record it tonight, I'm gonna edit it a little bit, and then I basically would be done by tomorrow afternoon, and then I could get it up by tomorrow night. Stay sus, but replace sus with sus. That's funny. But yeah, I think I'm gonna call it quits here. I'm gonna go ahead and try to see if I can record the United States episode. I told someone earlier that I was gonna try to get it out by today, but that obviously didn't work out. But yeah, guys, thank you all for watching this. Thank you all for allowing me to test out my new microphone. If you guys like this, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you guys want to see more content like this, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss anything whenever this comes out. I will again. I'll let you guys know when that USA episode is coming up. Pay attention to my community tab, and I will tell you guys when. Go ahead and join the Discord if you guys have not. Maybe we can have a conversation or two before before today's over. So yeah, again, leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching, and take care.